What Japanese car company has a storied history going back to the mid-19th century, including shipping, international banking, modern electronics? Well, it's Mitsubishi. And on this episode of the Real DC Car Guy, we're going to talk about the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SUV. So stay tuned. The three diamonds on the Mitsubishi logo represent three water chestnuts. And if you're as old as I am, you'll remember Three Diamonds tuna. Now I want you to know that the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross is not yesterday's fish story. Hello there, it's William West Hopper from the Real DC Car Guy, and I'm here with the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross in SEL trim. Now this is a $34,000 SUV with all-wheel drive, a small 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, and a continuously variable transmission, or CVT. Many enthusiasts aren't thrilled about the CVT, but in this vehicle it works just fine. So let's just have a look at it. Now this vehicle has a lot to offer consumers. First of all, because it looks different than other SUVs. Yes, it's still big and boxy, but it has great design lines on it. It has a very distinctive front, a very distinctive grille. It also has a very distinctive hatch. Now you will notice that it has the snake eye DRLs. It has LED headlights and LED fog lights. Distinctive with the black plastic grille, nice big open, and sort of a diamond shape. This vehicle, the Eclipse Cross, has a couple of extra packages, including the Eclipse Cross itself written out in black. So let's go have a look inside of this 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. So getting into the 2022 Eclipse Cross is pretty easy. There is a high lift over rail for your feet to get in. That's probably part of the body rigidity and important part of side impact. Now when you're in the vehicle, you're going to notice that it has a couple of things that stand out right in front of you. First, your start-stop engine button is hidden behind the stalk, and the steering wheel, your steering wheel is manually adjustable, I believe. Yes, down along the center console, you have your switches for your heated seats. You have control for your all-wheel drive, electric parking brake, and auto hold. Something that a lot of older drivers are going to feel more comfortable with is the standard feeling of a gear shift, the automatic gear shift lever. Now this does have the CVT transmission. For this vehicle, it works just fine. Really big paddle shifters, but this does have a sports package on it, so that's part of it. But the big paddle shifters, you can really feel them and use them there. A lot of controls on the steering wheel. You have an 8-inch center display that shows your media. It has a TomTom navigation. I don't remember when we've last seen TomTom navigation. That's pretty old. It does have touch display to it, but it does have real knobs for volume and control. Heating down here is in red, and there are a number of buttons there. It has two USB A plugs here. It has an eco mode, and there is a button here to push for a heated steering wheel. And that seems to be nice, but it doesn't heat the steering wheel all the way around, just in certain parts. So in general, you see a lot of the piano black plastic in here, but it's not overly done, and there's a very nice looking, though I don't believe it's real, but there's nice looking carbon fiber touches to it, and a lot of chrome touches to it. And this does have an extra package with chrome sport pedals on it. So there's controls on this side. They have their heads-up display is shown on a very small plastic display. I'm not a big fan of that. That's very old tech, but it does show a lot of content in there, and it's very well displayed of what's there. The display is good. I just don't like the fact that it shows it on a plastic pop-up screen. So what I do is I just push that plastic pop-up screen down, and it has a little cover that covers it so you don't see it. And it doesn't pop up every time you turn the car on, which is nice. And don't go thinking that the second row of the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross is missing anything, because it's really not. Inside of the second row of the Eclipse Cross is quite comfortable. There is plenty of headroom here. The leather-like seating surfaces in the second row are comfortable. They're very supportive for the two outer passengers. Now, the third passenger in the center probably will not have that same experience. And of course, there is a fold-down armrest with two cup holders right here. There is a shaded second row glass roof. There are map pockets on both sides, heated seats, but now remember, this is an upscale model. And of course, power outlet down here, but it's only a 12 volt. It would be nice if there was USB here. The 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross is designed as a 2-row SUV, not a 3-row SUV. And that is because of the design with the sloping rear hatch. I like the fact that it has a pull-out cargo cover as opposed to a hard cargo cover that you have to hide a spot for. Now, it does have the 60/40 folding rear seats, which gives it a lot of space. Now notice the 60/40 rear seats are down. It does give a flat space, though this is an incline up, but pretty spacious. So as part of a package, this Eclipse Cross came with a Roadside Assistance Kit, a really nice pair of pliers, Phillips head and the flathead, electrical tape, a variety of other little things. Let's go ahead and look under the hood of the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Now, this engine is a small 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. And the Eclipse Cross is a 2-row SUV, and I say it's an SUV because it does have all-wheel drive. They call it SAWC, so it's Sport All-Wheel Drive with Control. Very impressed with how it handles. So the Eclipse Cross is handles well in suburban traffic. As you can see here, we're on Connecticut Avenue with a lot of commuter traffic going on, and it's tall enough that you've got good visibility all around. The back window is a little small, so you get a little bit of it's sort of a little tunnel vision going out the rear, but other than that, pretty good for driving around. I can see that I have a car in my blind spot, so it does have the little blind spot lights there. They're not in the mirror housing like we've seen in some other cars. Engine's a little growly, or but not growly in a sports car way. So that's a negative. I like the driving feel of it. The steering wheel feels a little plasticky, but again, remember this is a $34,000 car, so it's not going to be a luxury vehicle. Ride is a little rough and a little hard. No, I wouldn't say it's harsh. It's just noisy. You hear all the bumps you go over. You can hear that as we go over bumps. Turning radius of the Eclipse Cross is good. Feels very centered as it corners around the cloverleaf here. Let's see how our pickup is as we get into the acceleration lane, and we can see traffic already is flying by us. So let's move on along here. Looks like we're good. Pickup is darn good. And it wasn't a real super growl or anything to get into it, but you can see that it picks it right on up. Car feels very stable. It doesn't, and all-wheel drive there is doing well for that. So it handles quite well in traffic, so give it thumbs up for that. It feels secure in the highway. I think it's going to feel comfortable as we go down the highway. I think this would be a fine car for a road trip in, because you've got some space in here. Certainly 2 comfortable seats up front, 3 in the back, and then cargo space. That pickup is great. Pickup is fine, and it's nice. Doesn't feel heavy. It's got a nice light feel to it, but it feels attached to the road, which is something that, sometimes you get cars that you don't feel that you have any connection to the road with. This one you do feel connected to the road too. Not like a driver's car, but close enough. I think for someone who's not a car enthusiast, the Eclipse Cross would be a great vehicle for them just all around, because of the space inside. The 5-passenger seating and cargo. Certainly it would be a great urban car. It stands out design-wise. It's different than Mitsubishi's Outlander, which is more of a conventional station wagon style SUV. This is more of your sportback, European-styled SUV. Very well styled, I think, for what this car is, and very distinctive, because it doesn't look like every other SUV on the road. So if you're looking for a car that has a very specific look to it, that doesn't look like everything else, the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross rates very high in that position, that spot. In today's crowded crossover market, it's very tough to fit into that mid $20,000 to mid $30,000 SUV market. And Mitsubishi has done quite well with this 2022 Eclipse Cross. I want to thank you for watching this episode of the Real DC Car Guy as we looked at the 2022 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross SEL. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Follow us here on the Real DC Car Guy and subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified of future car and truck reviews and stories about the automotive lifestyle. Until next time, we'll see you out on the road.